is the set bonuses, the tier set bonuses. You guys see this? That we are voting for our season 4.
God.
So there's been a little bit of confusion about this. We are voting independently for the transmog, and then each spec's set bonus that'll be on these mogs. So it's possible that Death Knight could have the appearance from both the Incarnates, the blood set bonus from Aberrus, and the frost set bonus from Amirdasil. Like all of that could be possible on each set based on what wins the votes. What do you guys think about this?
I am very wary of community voting because last time we had this happen, it was for dungeons, and they voted Grimrail Depot. Because people like trains, I guess, and that was like the only.
I voted
that was
for
the only
Grimrail
thing
Depot.
that.
I like trains.
Exactly.
Trains are cool. But okay, yeah. So you're wary that the community is gonna put something on you that you don't want, yeah?
Yeah.
I have a problem with the fact that everybody's desires are so heavily divided. I watched a Vinruki video the other day talking about how PvPers are basically getting completely shafted because PvE people have, more broadly speaking, like at least Mythic Plusers in Raid, more often than not, it's a similar bonus that you kind of want. There are some bonuses that I've seen for Mythic Plus and Raid, like I think Prot Paladin Season 2 is like very good for Raid, but very bad for Mythic Plus. And so that's like one that's a bit divisive. But I think that the fact that all three subsections of the game have such distinct desires for what they want out of a tier set is a problem. And on top of that, I feel like the fact that you don't necessarily know what you're voting for is also a major issue. Like, I know Demon Hunter and Moonkin have had like major tier reworks after the patch coming into the 0.1 patch. I want to say it was the 0.0 tier for both of those specs got completely reworked. Are you voting for the post-rework tier? Or are you voting for the pre-rework tier? Like, what are you actually voting for?
Yeah, they did say they're going to balance them so that they're all the same power level, whichever one wins. But like, it's tough to know what that exactly means, and it's hard to put full faith in that being something that will happen. So
they said you're voting on a concept, but like, what does that even mean? Like,
well, so they said your what's the exact line here? It's please keep in mind that we're going to update the power of the set bonuses to match the increased power of the new gear in Season 4, so any bonuses you choose will be tuned to be as strong as any others. So, yeah, tuned. I mean, I assume that this means that if you vote for something like Balanced Druid Season 1, they'll revert it to the functionality of how it was in Season 1.
Okay, well, that's the one that's winning the vote, but like,
yeah,
is that what we're actually getting? Is that what we're really voting on?
Like, it would be so weird because they nerfed several Season 1 and Season 2 set bonuses so that we wouldn't wear them in future seasons, right? Like, that was the big reason that they gutted ones that they gutted.
Yeah, exactly.
Which means, yeah, they would probably bring back the functionality that people actually remember and are voting for.
But imagine if they don't, and imagine if you're just like voting for the wrong thing because you don't know.
I think that the much bigger issue as well is like, you know, if there is a spec that has one that is good for M+, that's going to win over whichever ones are good for Raid and PvP. Probably.
Yeah, true.
Now, I think that between M+ and Raid, as somebody who cares about both, I would choose M+ on any of these set bonuses because it's a fake Raid season and it's a real M+ season. And so, like, I don't know, that seems pretty easy, but like the PvP versus M+ and Raid side of things, or if there's somebody who just doesn't like M+ at all and cares about Fated Raids, if you see the bonus that you want just getting voted down because people who play the game differently than you want the other ones, that's got to feel bad.
It's interesting too, because I think the Hammer of Wrath Discord is like telling Protection Paladin players, I think, to vote for the Season 2 one. But then I've seen some stuff that's like the Season 2 one is very bad for Mythic Plus, right?
Plus, yeah.
Yeah, that's terrible. Wait, they're saying that?
Well, it's so I think it had the most like DPS potentially, but if they balance all the DPSs to be equal, then this just has nothing going for it. It's a damage over time and heal over time effect, and I guess you get some extra Grand Crusader procs, but like Season 3 is the one that's powerful in M+ right now. It sucks because it plays around Consecration, but you get a damage reduction on it, which damage reduction is much more powerful than a healing over time effect for M+. And then Season 1 also has versatility for you and a nearby friend, and parry chains as well. Good. So I actually am a Season 1 voter because I don't like the Season 2 one and I don't like Consecration, so that's what I voted for. I wonder how it's doing. Oh my god, season 1 is winning, at least in the US vote. So
Let's go.
let's go. Yeah.
What do you guys think is? What do you guys think is? Would there be a problem with having a choice of your own tier set? Like if you just chose which tier set you want to wear at all times, you had one piece of gear, you could just alternate between 3 options for whatever content you wanted to do.
You're talking about the vendor solution, or are you talking about something different?
Like I guess I'd have to develop a UI for it, but like wearing one tier set, it would just be called like the Dragonflight tier or something, and then you could just rotate tier sets whenever you want it.
Yeah, so
maybe that would be
functionally that you could wear all 3. You could switch your set bonus between any of the 3, whatever way they actually wanted to implement that.
That would be cool. I don't think that. I don't
know. The one problem that I would see with that is that if they wanted to do this thing of like tuning them all to be equal, then that's like 3 times as much work to do it for all of the set bonuses instead of just one. And I think most specs, it's like for most specs, there's at least 1 and often 2 of the set bonuses where you're just like, we don't need that. It's okay. It's gonna be all right. Like we don't need Mistweaver season 1 set bonus or anything like that. Like we're happy with the season 3 set bonus. We don't need the option, right?
True.
But for a lot of classes, there are like something like Prop Pally. I think it would make sense to have access to all 3 like that. There are people who want all 3 quite legitimately. There are people who want all 3 people who want season 2 and season 3 of the Ellie Shaman set bonuses. Like they're completely different builds that they play into. There are Destro locks that like casting Channel Demon Fire or Dimensional Rift with their set bonuses that make you talent either of those buttons. Right? I could see why that's something that would maybe be more fun, but it is the case of like us asking for more resources to go into it, right? Like more, which I think that would be a good use of resources, but I don't know. I would be down for even more investment into it and like
Trell.
Really let us pick and choose anything we want.
Trell, would you take a compromise where you're able to just like buy the different sets off a vendor and you pick your own set?
Yeah, I mean that
as
would
opposed
work
to
too.
a community
poll.
Of
course, yeah.
But again, still that still is a lot more work from them unless they wanted to give up balancing all the set bonuses to be same power level, right? Like this.
I guess that's
this
a good point.
This is dev time that gets tripled if they have to do 3 per spec instead of just 1 per spec, right?
Shit, I didn't consider that.
It's just the balancing either way is I think is the biggest problem on Blizzard's end. Like I mean, for a Fated season, that's the idea anyway, right? Just open up the access to everything from the previous seasons from the expansion. So like all the items are going to be there, I believe. You might as well make all the tier sets be there too, in my mind.
So I guess
would it be worth it? Yeah, if it was less balanced but more like wacky and more combos stuff. Like if they added that in and they were like, but they're not all going to be balanced. Most of the season 1 set bonuses would never get picked because the season 1 set bonuses are pretty undertuned.
None of the season 2 set bonuses are really going to get picked either because most of the season 3 bonuses are like 15+% damage gains. Yeah. Whereas the season 1 and season 2 were like 8 to 12% range.
So I do think that it would require at least. I mean, they could just blanket buff all the season 1 bonuses by 50% and blanket buff all the season 2 bonuses by 25% or something, and then just
that'd be sick.
Just toss them at us and let us pick and choose.
You could just have so many options. You could call it a sandbox season, Sands of Time box.
I guess it doesn't have to be balanced.
Yeah, would it be better for it to be? But also, like, would it actually be more fun?
No.
Would you ever actually? Do you foresee yourself swapping between these and using multiple of the set bonuses offered to you?
I would. I'd try.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think for a lot of these classes, I would never look at their season 1 set bonus unless it was like the most damage. Again, like Prop Pally, Balance Druid, kind of exceptions. Ones where those are just like actually the best ones.
They were the coolest. Like,
or like the least horrific in terms of the Prop Pally ones design wise. But for the most part, like they're all pretty boring season. But I guess maybe it'd be nice to just have a boring set bonus that just doesn't, changes you back to your base kit. I guess for the season, I don't know. I like the idea of them investing more in the Fated season and doing more stuff with these set bonuses than they currently are. And I think that there's a lot of possibility to do some wacky stuff if they wanted to do that. Like they could do more than just these set bonuses as well, right? Like they could revisit some Legion ones even, but I guess the class bonus has changed a lot since then. But they could put in like essences and corruption effects and stuff like that, and like
holy shit, if we got essences back,
yeah, it could
that
be
would
Borrowed power.
There's
my god,
a lot of stuff they could screw around with if they wanted to do something wacky with this season. But it does seem like the kind of main goal with Faded is to just get us to War Within with the least amount of investment from them as possible.
yeah.
Which, given that that's happening, I think at least it's nice that they're doing this instead of just sticking us with our Season 3 set bonuses.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That's definitely better than nothing.
It is a case of, like, better than nothing, but also the whole Faded season still is...
I don't
have great vibes about it.
I don't love the vote. I think the vote's like... No, it hasn't been abused by bad actors yet, but it's... There's only like 4,000 votes. You could foresee...
Do you guys see
fires up his stream and is like, you should troll vote these people.
They removed Season 1 from the augmentation bonuses because people were voting it to grief Og. And even still, like, Season 2 is almost winning, and that one, like, the spec is just so much more functional with the Season 3 one.
That's so troll.
Yeah, but aside from Og, there aren't really ones that are getting griefed. Although it's hard to say, because maybe people are trying to grief Moonkins by voting for Season 1, and just kind of accidentally that's one of the specs that had a good Season 1. It's hard to say.
It is funny that there's like literally lobbying going on Twitter about trying to get stuff voted.
The PvP side does really, like, I really feel for the PvPers on this. Like, I think that's a tough spot.
I would recommend going and watching a Vin Rookie video, the most recent one that he talked about it, because he makes a really good distinction. He's like, a lot of the stuff that makes the PvE rotation functional for a lot of specializations just does not work in PvP. I think he talked about the Frost Mage one at length, where Glacial Spike is just not a button they press in PvP because it's so easy to stop. But he's like, but the Season 1 rotation is just orb damage, which is great. And it's like, oh god.
Yeah.
So they want the simple ones, right?
Yeah, like the Season 1 ones are probably, if they were all balanced to be equal, like those are the least conditional set bonuses in a lot of cases. Yeah, I don't know how you avoid, like, because M+ers outnumber PvPers. It's
by a lot,
like at least 10 to 1, if not more. Which
all the PvPers are Mythic Plusing now, which is hilarious to me, by the way.
Yeah, that's
true.
That is a very rough side of this.